Welcome. Today we will continue talking about acceleration. And at the end of today's lesson, you should have a clear grasp of what acceleration is and be able to solve acceleration problems. So here goes a scenario. A moving school bus increases its speed from 20 meters per second to 50 meters per second in 15 seconds. What is the acceleration of the school bus? Now, if you try to look at this problem, maybe you have no idea how to solve for the acceleration. You should be asking this question: what will I do to solve for this acceleration? The answer is, of course, you need a formula. And what kind of formula do you need? In order for you guys to calculate acceleration, you need to have a formula that looks like this. It says acceleration is equal to final velocity minus initial velocity all over time. In simple terms, here goes your formula here, where A stands for acceleration. So your A stands for your acceleration, okay? And your V stands for your final velocity. And then, of course, your U stands for your initial velocity, and this T stands for your time. And that is also indicated here. Here we go. So U is the initial, or what you call as beginning velocity, and V is the final velocity, and T is simply time. So this is the only formula that you need in order for you guys to solve for acceleration at this point. So moving on, if we look at the previous scenario, what is the acceleration of the school bus if the speed increases from 20 meters per second to 40 meters per second in 15 seconds? All right. So as you can see in this problem, you are given two speeds. That is the 20 meters per second and 40 meters per second. Okay. So if you look at the given, you have here U, V, and T. So therefore, remember U is the beginning velocity. So which one of these two numbers is the beginning velocity? You have to take note of these words, the word from and to. Now, of course, the from, this word right here, indicates beginning, okay? And this to indicates ending. So therefore, if you look at the given, your U should be, you should have U is equal to 20 meters per second, okay? That is your beginning velocity. And therefore, your final velocity will give you 40 meters per second. So what about this? What exactly is this? Well, as you can see, 15 seconds, that is just your time. So time is 15 seconds. So now we have completed given. Now what is asked in this problem? The problem says, what is the acceleration? So therefore, what is asked in this problem is A. Now, of course, your formula, for your formula, you'll have A is just equal to, you'll have V minus U over C. Remember, that is your formula. So when you look at your solution, you will have A is just equal to, here we go. So you know that your V is equal to 40. So you have 40 meters per second. That is your V. And then minus your U. Here goes your U. That is 20 meters per second. And then all over time. So your time is right there. That is 15 seconds. So therefore, when you plug this one in your calculator, you will have 40 meters per second minus 20 meters per second. That will give you 20 meters per second over time is 15 seconds. So therefore, you will end up with acceleration is just equal to 20 over 15. What exactly is that? So you will have 1.33. Okay, so that's going to be meters per second per seconds, or you can write that final answer to be equal to acceleration is just equal to 1.33 meters per second squared. So there goes your final acceleration. All right. All right. So now moving on to the next problem. Here we go. The second example says a cheetah speeds up from 20 meters per second to 40 meters per second in 6 seconds. What is the cheetah's acceleration? This is pretty much similar to the previous problem. So in this problem, you are given two velocities or two speeds, that and this 40 meters per second. So when you look at your given, remember, u is the beginning velocity. So you know very well that this 20 meters per second is your beginning velocity because of this keyword which is says from. So your u will give you 20 m per s. And of course, this one will be your final speed. You go 40 m per s. And how about your times? It's right here. Time is 6 seconds. So therefore, your time is just equal to 6 seconds. So what is the cheetah's acceleration? The cheetah's acceleration is what is asked. Now, of course, your formula will still give you a is just equal to v minus u over t. All right. So moving on to the solution. So their solution will give you a is just equal to b is 40. So you go 40 m per s minus you'll have 20 m per s over 6 s. So therefore, when you plug this one in your calculator, you will end up with an answer which is equal to, you got 40 meters per second minus 20 meters per second is 20 meter per second over 6 seconds. Okay, so therefore your acceleration will now give you what is 20 divided by 6. So that will give you 3.67 meters per second squared. So there is your answer. All right. So the third example says a Camaro accelerates from 10. So again, here's the word from 10 meters per second to, you have here 120 meters per second. So let's try to look at the given. Now, of course, the given 10 meters per second, that should be your beginning speed because again of this word from. So you go 10 meters per second. And this 120 should be your final speed. So you go 120, okay, meters per second. And of course, there is your time. So you go 4 seconds. Now, what is asking this problem? It says, what is the Camaro's acceleration? So the acceleration is unknown here. Okay, and then your formula will give you a, it's just equal to v minus u over t. And here goes your solution. A is just equal to, so what is your v? Your v is here 120. So you go 120 m per s minus your u is 10 m per s over your time is 4 seconds. So therefore, your acceleration will now give you 1, 1, 0. Okay, meter per second over 4 seconds. So therefore, your acceleration will now give you 27.5. Okay, m per s squared. So there is your answer. All right. All right. Moving on. Now, in this particular problem, it's a little bit different because the problem goes this way. A school bus slows down. So now it's slowing down from 45 meters per second to 15 meters per second in 5 seconds. What is its acceleration? So we have here these two speeds. Okay. So since this one says from 45 to 15, so this 45 should be your beginning speed. So that is 45 meters per second. Okay. And then the final speed should be 15 meters per second. And of course, your time is right there, which is 5 seconds. Okay. So again, what is asked in this problem is finding your acceleration. Now, of course, your formula still the same. It doesn't change. Your acceleration is equal to, you go v minus u over t. Okay. So here goes your solution. A is equal to, so you have your v is equal to 15 meters per second minus, you go 45 meters per second over the time is 5 seconds. So your acceleration will now give you negative 30, okay, 30 meters per second over 5 seconds. So therefore, your acceleration will now give you negative 6 meters per second squared. So there is your answer. Now, if you try to look at your final answer, there is this negative right there. Okay. What is the meaning of this negative number? How is this different from previous problems, which gives you positive? Does that mean that this acceleration is negative? Okay. The answer is yes, that acceleration should be negative. And what does that mean? That means if you look at the problem, it says the bus is slowing down. Okay. The bus is slowing down. That means from a higher speed to the lower speed. So this negative acceleration has a different name into it. Okay. And we call it deceleration. Deceleration means negative acceleration. Okay, so whenever you get a negative acceleration, that means the object is decelerating. Okay, all right. So it's your turn to solve some problems. Okay, right. That's all, and have a good day.